All right, you guys, Town Business Sports and Entertainment. First of all, I got a special guest. I'm very pleased to have this brother on my show. I saw him on another panel and I reached out to him and he responded right away. So I'm happy to bring him on my show. Give this man the proper introduction and respect that he deserves. This is a martial artist. He is an actor. He is a director. He is a writer. Give it up for Mr. Ron Hall. Ron, I'll add the special effects later on, but thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you to you and your audience for inviting me on your show.
Man, appreciate you coming on here, brother. So, what made you get into martial arts, and when did you get started?
I got started in martial arts at a very young age. I lived in a neighborhood that was between two project areas, and you know, standard kid bully story stuff. So, that combined with the fact that I loved martial art movies inspired me to take martial arts.
So, where are you originally from? I'm out of Oakland, California.
Okay, I'm from Washington, D.C.
Oh, okay. Right on the DMV. Yeah, my guy
Yeah,
Ticket TV is he's watching right now. He's from the DMV. I'm definitely gonna link you up. He has a bigger platform. And
that's right.
like I
I'm
said,
DMV, born and raised and bred and all that stuff.
all right. So so you started at a young age in the martial
Yeah.
arts. Who was like your who did you come up under? Like who was your
I
teacher?
came up, I had several teachers. I had a teacher, I took Mudukwon Karate, which is kind of like the forefather of Taekwondo and Tang Sudo. There was a guy named William Phillips. He had a unit called Daka Dojang. So I took karate, Mudukwon under him. And then when I got about 12, I took Wushu Kung Fu from Willie Lin in Maryland. He had a long lineage of like successful martial artists. You had Dennis Brown, who was at that school. You had Chuck Jeffries, who was at that school. Willie Bam Johnson, who was at that school. So we all trained under Willie Lin.
Oh wow. Oh wow. So what was the highest level of martial arts you reached? Like what was like the highest level of certification that you reached?
Sure. I was only a blue belt taking Mudukwon. I really wasn't that good when I was taking Mudukwon. Actually, I was so bad they used to call me Super Sorry. And then when I took Wushu, I took Wushu maybe about a year and a half and never really got any certification in that. But what happened after that, my interest in martial art, continued. And I actually think it was a financial reason that I stopped. And but my interest continued, and I just practiced my basics over and over, my stances, my kicks, my punches, my stances exchanged, and you know, I improved.
Okay. So like what made you decide to like, use your skills and transition into acting? And what is your body of work and what are some of the movies you've been part of? I know that you was in Blood Sport 2.
Sure, that's probably the movie I'm. There's two movies I'm known for, which is Bloodsport 2 is the one I'm known for the most, and then there's one I'm infamous for, which is Vampire Assassin. So, those are the two movies I'm asked about the most. But I did, I've done a movie. Me and Dale Apollo Cook. We did three movies. We did a movie called Triple Impact, and we did a movie called Double Blast, and we did another movie called Raw Target. Then I did a movie with Richard Grieco and Mickey Rooney called Sinbad and the Battle of the Dark Knights. We shot that where Indiana Jones 3 shot their movie and Petra Jordan. And I've done a movie, I've done several other things. I worked with Dolomite for about 8 years. Me and Dolomite, I worked on this movie as a stuntman, fight choreographer, and as a writer, director, and producer on his movie. And then he worked on my movie, Vampire Assassin.
Wow, shout out to the late great Dolomite. What was it like to work with somebody like Rudy Ray Moore?
I loved Rudy. Let me tell you, Rudy was like my father, my worst enemy, and my best friend. We just had, I loved his movies. I can remember being in the army, and for years people were telling me about Dolomite. And one night I went to this like all night feature, and they had Dolomite and the Human Tornado, and my mind was blown. I was like, it just blew my mind. I didn't even know what I was looking at. And so years later, when I met him, it just was amazing, and I wanted to work with him. And I hounded him for maybe about 2 years, and he was making his movie. I think it was called Dolomite 2000 then, and I was hired by a guy named Roberto Lopez, who's an excellent Latino martial artist. He hired me to work on that. And then later on, when Dolomite saw I was making a movie and I wanted him to be a part of that movie, and then when he saw what my movie looked like, he wanted me to finish directing the rest of his movie. So I had a wonderful relationship with Dolomite. I learned a lot from him. He was an amazing creative force. And even though we have a movie about him right now, he still does not get the credit that he deserves in the comedy aspect. I mean, I would be with him. Like there were people like Jamie Foxx and Dice Clay and Sam Kinison and Michael Mann from the Heat, the director of Heat, like Dolomite movies. So Dolomite was really popular, and he was just really a great creative force. And I learned so much from him. And one day I would like to do a Dolomite inspired movie. I think Rudy taught me enough that I know how to make a Dolomite movie. So that's one of the things on my creative bucket list is to make a Dolomite inspired movie.
That's crazy. Like, I grew up in the Dolomite era because, I'm almost 50, and I watched some of his movies on Tubi. But let me ask you something. When you saw, and I know it was meant to be comedy, but were you kind of laughing at how they used to speed up the camera and you would see him do those half spin kicks? Were you like, this is funny and kind of insulting at the same time? Because, Dolomite wasn't a real martial artist. So I just what's your take on that?
Well, I think I have a different take because I'm a little older than you. So, we have the benefit now that you guys that are a little younger, a lot of people have copied from the aesthetic of Dolomite. But back then, there was nothing like it. It was just you did not see any movies like Dolomite. So it really was like a mind blow, a movie that was like raw, it was raunchy, it was funny. You had martial arts, you had him doing his rhyme, he was charismatic, it was violent. So you didn't even have, so he blended a whole lot of genres together and channeled them through his personality, and it just really made him unique. So even though I laughed at some of the things that were going on in terms of the filmmaking, back then we didn't really even pay attention to the filmmaking. Actually, I didn't even recognize the filmmaking was so bad until people started talking about it, maybe in the late 90s, because everybody started to make movies then. So people started to say, like, if Dolomite made a movie, I can make a movie. But when I saw it like in the 80s, my mind was just blown, and I loved it, and I just thought it was magical. And when I watch the Human Tornado right now, if I sit down and watch it, I enjoyed it. I just think that's just his greatest achievement is the Human Tornado.
Well, Ron, I agree with that because at the end of the day, we had to start somewhere. Sure. we had to start somewhere because it wasn't really a market for us in film, and I still think that to a certain degree we still are not properly represented in TV and film. I think we made advancements, but I think we could do better. And I like people like you, and I believe that guys like you should be controlling the masses. I believe that we should be controlling what gets put out and how we are represented in film instead of other people that don't understand us. I think it's deep, and that's why I brought you on here, because I wanted you to, talk about stuff like that. How do you feel as far as the community where Black people are in television and film? And I'm not trying to get you to throw nobody under the bus, but if you want to insinuate people, do you like the current state of where, Black people are in TV and cinema? Do you feel it can be better? And if so, how do you feel we can get better?
Okay. Well, I think it can always be better. No matter where we are, we're going to want to improve. But I think, in terms of like, I'll be specific in terms of like the martial art action genre. I mean, an example I use is a movie like The Last Dragon, a black martial art movie filtered through the lens of African American culture. We haven't seen a movie like that since The Last Dragon. So there's definitely room to make movies for that, for not just only the African American audiences, but the entire world loves the Last Dragon. So it would seem to me that somebody would have said by now, hey, let's make a Last Dragon, or let's make something like a Last Dragon. But that's not the case. And that was one of the reasons that kind of inspired me in my later years to go, you know what, I really need to get back into cinema to commit myself to making this happen, because I know since I've been a kid, Black people have wanted to see Black characters, Black stories, a Black
Absolutely.
aesthetic in martial art action. I know this. People talk to me about it all the time. People will talk to me and tell me, oh, it's not a problem, it's not an issue, but people talk to this about this to me all the time. What about, like three little Black kids, like the three ninjas doing martial arts, or a brother and a sister doing martial art, all different type of permutations of Black people in martial art movies that can be authentically reflecting African American culture, but also be genuine enough that it attracts the humanity of no matter what culture you come from. So that's something I'm committed to. And there are a lot of issues. One issue is money. Getting money to make these type of films. Another issue is exposure. Once you make the film, where do you show it? How do you distribute it? Who's going to green light the properties? Who's the authority that says this is the type of movie you get to make? So all of these things are kind of issues that Black filmmakers face when they're trying to make martial art action movies. And it's very difficult. I mean, I'll give you an example. In New York, every year they have what is called the Urban Action Expo, where they literally have hundreds of African American and minority filmmakers making martial art action movies that most people never get to see because of one of those factors I was talking about. That festival has been going on for about 10 years now. It should have created a couple of really, wide release movies, or launch an action star or five, but it hasn't. And so I just think that it takes, a little bit of focus and extra effort and understanding, what needs to be done. And I think I understand it. I know that Black people want to see themselves in a martial art movie, and the
Absolutely.
world at large, the humanity of it. I'm not talking about the bureaucracy of the people who make films. I'm talking about just the humanity of the world have no problem watching African Americans in movies. Before the Black Panther came out, it was standard convention that a Black film didn't do well internationally. Like that was just standard. That's what people would throw in your face all the time. Oh, Denzel Washington's movie doesn't do that well overseas. They do well in America. Well, Black Panther proved that you can take a Black subject matter, Black cast, and the entire world can embrace it. That's a $1 billion film. And I just think that now is the time. And I see some examples. I just in the last couple of months, there's a girl, her name is Sama Ryder. I think she did a movie, and she's a astounding, fantastic martial art talent. And then I saw a trailer just the other day from Netflix. They're doing a movie called, I think it's called like Rebel Ridge or something. It's essentially like a Black Rambo, and he's doing martial arts. So it's happening, but I think a little bit more attention needs to be put to it, a little bit more effort, and a little bit more resources. And one thing that can help this along is that if people were to support independent filmmakers, when filmmakers do like crowdfunding to make their movies, that, somebody donate $5, $10, $15, $20 to help a filmmaker make a movie that they want to see, we'd probably see more of these films.
Well, you can count me in. And let me ask you something. Have you ever spoken to Timok from The
Sure.
Last Dragon? I love that movie. Is there any way, Ron, you guys could find a way because I have a lot of friends. I got a lot of black friends, and they got money.
Yeah.
If you can find a budget, I'm willing to invest. All I ask is you have me at the world premiere, because a Last Dragon sequel is long overdue, and I would love to see what happened with Bruce Leroy like almost 40 years later. I think it's needed. I think it could be done.
Sure, many people, want to see that, and I know that I've heard that Michael Schultz and Lewis, I forgot Lewis's last name, but I know they have a script that they're trying to raise money for to do a Last Dragon thing, and hopefully it'll happen. And I've written an idea for what I think would be a good continuation of the Last Dragon story. And I'm sure there are other people out there who have done it too, but but trying to get it made is key. So I'm always willing to collaborate with anyone who wants to make a movie in that direction. I don't have to be in it. I don't have to star in it. I could help write it, help direct it, do the fight choreography, help produce it. I don't have to have my face in front of the camera. I'm committed to the idea of African American culture in martial art action movies. That is something that I've committed my life to. Is I want to see that happen. And whether or not, I'm one of the main players of it, that's neither here nor there for me.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you ever like talked or spoke to, martial artists like Michael Jai White or Wesley Snipes or any guys like that did a lot of films where they, demonstrated martial arts? Have you ever got in contact with those type of guys? Because I know Michael Jai White, he does a lot of, every time I look around, that brother got a movie coming out.
Yes.
So is there any way you would be interested in working with those type of guys? And can it happen?
Well, as I said, I'm interested in working with anyone who wants to collaborate on doing a film in that direction. Now, whether or not they want to work with you is another matter. So that's part of the factors that, sometimes circumstances keep people from working together, even though they might have a desire to work together. The politics of the business may keep people from working together. So it's not as easy as it sounds, and that's probably why we haven't had those things happen.
So what are some of the politics that's like involved? Would you say sometimes skin color plays a role and people not willing to green light certain projects? Because I've seen no disrespect, I've seen enough of the stuff with the Medea guy. I want to see different stuff. I'm tired of seeing predictable stuff. I'm tired of seeing these movies about dudes selling drugs and all this kind of stuff. I think we have evolved from the pimps and hoes stuff. I want to see us in different type of scenarios and different type of situations, because I hear people crying for something different. And I feel like you're on the right path.
Well, I'll put it like this. There's really never anything new. It's only like maybe a restructuring of something we've seen before. So I would say that there's room for all types of stories. There's room for the pimps. There's room for the action hero. There's room for the horror movie. There's room for it all. It's just the fact of actually actualizing it and making it happen. And, there are people out there that are trying. Trust me. I'm not saying this is to discount anyone's efforts. I'm just saying that, wow. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Oh, he'll probably be back. I guess he having some issues with his phone, but yeah. But for the people that's listening, you hear what's being said. This is a problem. And me myself, it's time to take matters into our own hands. Okay, so we lost him, but we'll get him back. We'll get him back. But it's time to take matters into our own hands. We didn't have way too many people that don't look like us controlling the masses controlling what's being put out. Okay, he's back. He's back. Let me see. Can I get him back? Okay. All right. All right.
Are you able to see me and hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, you're back. Okay. All right. See, he's back, man. See, that's what we do. All right. All right. So what were you saying before before we had the technical difficulties, about
Yeah,
the film industry?
sure. I was just saying, there are a lot of, factors that keep it from happening, but trust me, there are people who are just as dedicated as I am trying the same, excuse me, they're trying the same thing. So it's probably that time. I would say maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, you're probably going to see several people rise up and manifest this idea. So, it's just a matter of, that's why I talk about it. I talk about it so that even if I'm not the one to do it, it can help push the idea forward.
So Ron, what are you currently working on, and what do you got coming up?
Well, I'm always working on something because the reason I became a filmmaker as not just beyond an actor, beyond a fight choreographer, but learn how to write, learn how to direct, because my opportunities were limited when I was doing films in terms of how people wanted to use me. And I thought it didn't match the potential in which I thought I could be used. So for example, like, right now I have a comic book that I'm developing. I have a film that I start shooting in about 30 days. I have several projects that I'm talking to people. And later on tonight, I'm actually talking to an action director of somebody who movies you've seen. I'm sure we're discussing working together later on this year. So, it takes that to keep things happening and momentum going forward. So, uh, you know, we'll see what happens.
Well, as I said earlier, Ron, I'm out of Oakland, California. I don't know if you know, but Bruce Lee started his first school in Oakland. You know,
They don't call me Kung Fu
yeah.
Brother for nothing. I know about Bruce Lee in Oakland.
Okay, okay. Do
All
you
right.
plan on working in the Bay Area?
You know what? Actually, yeah. I'm actually next month. I'm going to be in the Bay Area shooting a project that I'm working on. So, hopefully, I'll get to see you when I'm up there. Yeah.
Are you can you are you inclined to say what city it is? Because I am the Bay Area, so I
No,
know where
because it's
everything
not.
is.
Well, I'll just say it's in San Francisco. It's in San Francisco, and in a couple of weeks, I'm going to announce it online. You'll see it. I don't want to spoil the surprise because I think it's a really good surprise. So, in a couple of weeks, I'll be in the San Francisco, Oakland area shooting something, and I think you'll like what it is. I know I'm very excited about it. It's an idea that I've wanted to do. Probably 15 years ago, I wrote it. And now, I'm having an opportunity to do it. So I'm pretty excited. And it's an idea that people talk about all the time, but no one's done it. So that really, for me to be like the person to beat it to the punch is really exciting for me. So in a few weeks, I'd say maybe 3 weeks, you'll see what it is I'm talking about.
Any chance I could possibly visit the set? I'll sign whatever
Oh,
NDAs you want me to
yeah,
sign.
of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's no problem.
Oh man, that's great. So Ron, before we go, I want you to tell everybody about your social medias and how to get in contact with you. My guy Ticket TV, he definitely will be getting in touch with you. He's from the DMV, and
Mhm.
he gonna get you the connects that you need.
Okay.
So
All right.
tell everybody how to get in contact with you.
Sure. Okay. You can find me. My name is Ron Hall, Ron Hall Kung Fu Brother. All you have to do is look on the internet. I'm on Twitter. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. You will find me. I'm very easy to find.
All right, so there you have it, Ron. I appreciate you coming on my channel. I want to say something before we go. You know, Ron responded to me immediately, and you know, it's very hard sometimes. A lot of these celebrities and actors, they don't like talking to black media, and he responded right away, and we set this up. So show this brother some love, man. Ron, you can link your Cash App. You know, you can text it to me. I'll link it, to the description of this video, because at the end of the day, I'm definitely gonna make a donation. And that's just real talk. Cause like I said, I got a lot of black friends with some decent amount of money. And like I said, we will help you raise the money to get these films did. You know,
Okay,
we'll
well,
do it ourselves.
okay. I'll hold you to that. All right.
Got you. So appreciate you coming on here. Ron, you are welcome on here whenever you got a project that you want to promote. Hit me and you are instantly on here, brother. Appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And like I said, y'all support this brother, man, because at the end of the day, you know what's going on. A lot of these dudes, they don't even want to talk to black media. And he talked to me. He gave me the opportunity to interview him, and I appreciate that. So, Ron, you have my loyalty.
Well, thank you, young man. Like I said, I thank you and your audience for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. And we'll be in touch. Thank you very much. And you folks have a nice evening.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, sir. You have to take care.